Cool. So thanks for all for coming. So what we're going to run through today, as you're well aware, is the Confluence 101. So the reason we put this together, there was a lot of questions getting fired around trying to find basic knowledge about Confluence. The CX Digi team's been using it for about 18 months now. So hopefully we can pass on all the learnings we've gained through trial and error over that time and sort of shorten your learning curve, because I think everyone's sort of using it in one way or another at the moment, and by the sounds of things, we're going to be using it more and more going forward. So we'll turn you from this guy into this guy by the end of today, hopefully. So we'll run through three main areas. So organize, create, and discuss. I'll jump straight into the first one. So organizing your workspace in Confluence is obviously one of the key things, and it'll give you a good understanding of the structure of Confluence and how it's used. So I'll run through each of these topics, but within Confluence, but I'll just run through the agenda for the organize section. So what is Confluence? Why is it powerful? We're going to look at your profile. We'll look at the email settings. You've probably noticed there's quite a few emails can come through from Confluence once you start getting tagged in pages. So how do you find a page, creating a couple of shortcuts, and then the structure of Confluence, which is a tree structure. A couple more people have joined. Cool. So what is it? So Confluence is an online collaborative workspace. So the illustration on the left of the slide is meant to indicate why it's so powerful. So every day we interact with a number of different documents on different devices stored across heaps of systems. And Confluence is a way we can consolidate all these things into a single location and everyone has access to them. And that's including off your phone. And it just makes it really, really simple. So you'll see what I mean as we get stuck into it. So if you guys have dual screens and you want to open up Confluence, you can follow along with me because we're going to be doing a couple of things which are probably going to help you along the way. But the first one I want to run through is your profile. So if you just click on this little emoticon up in the top right-hand corner, it's probably got your initials if you haven't set up a picture already. But in here, you can edit your profile. So a few people have had issues with the spelling of their name. Mine's in all caps, so I can change that to lowercase. You can add a phone number. You can add a little bit about yourself, which department you're in. And most importantly, I think, is actually the profile picture. This becomes really handy when you're writing messages to people from other departments that potentially don't know who you are, or there's a few external agencies using the system as well. So this helps put a face to the name. So save that. Now, email settings is also in here, I believe. So you would have noticed a few emails coming through. Managing these, depending on how many Confluence pages you're tagged in, becomes a pretty big job. But you can set up a rule in your Outlook to manage these. And you can also minimize the amount of emails if you're finding it a problem by going into watches. So these are all the pages that you've been set to watch. So I've got a lot. But you can very easily, let me just find one that I probably don't need to be watching that. So you can just stop watching that page and you'll no longer be notified whenever there's a change to that page. Next thing. So finding pages. If I go back to my spaces, so you got your basic tree structure on the left. You'll all be, I don't know if you'll all be in Honda Digital. You've probably got your own department space. But the best way is to keep track of your tree structure, because this is kind of your primary way to find pages. So just dropping down, just like folders within the G drive. But if you're not sure about a page, someone told you about it, and you're not sure exactly where in the tree, you can always use the search function. So if I look up campaign review, search for that. So you get a big list of the blue ones here are pages. So I just click on this. That'll take you straight to the page. And from there, you can jump in, make edits, make a comment if it's something you need to comment on, but we'll touch on that a bit later. Now, you'll also see in the Honda Digital space, we have a few space shortcuts. So this space tool controls this area of Confluence. So if I hit space tools and go configure sidebar, this is all really simple to use. So it's all pretty much drag and drop. You can add a link. I can probably delete a few of these because they're a little bit old. So take out a few of these, put this one back at the top, and done. And it's just that simple to edit that. And we'll go into moving these pages around a little bit later in the preso. So I thought this was important to show as well. This is the structure of Confluence. So you've got a number of different spaces, and you'll all have at least one of these, or have access to at least one space. Most of you will have a number of spaces, and then this is the tree structure we were speaking about. So number of pages within the space, and then within the page you can have links, comments, copy, documents, whatever it is. But that's kind of the basic structure of Confluence and how all the pages are set up. So creating content within a page is the next section we'll look at. So what is a page? We'll look at how to edit a page, creating a new page, childing a page, which is creating a new page underneath another one, creating a page from a template, draft pages. I saw Mel joined the meeting there earlier. This was an issue we had in the past. And moving pages. And we'll look at publishing and notifying watches as well. So jump back into Confluence. So what is a page? It's a living document where individuals or teams can consolidate and collaborate on ideas. So I've got a little dummy page I've created down here. So the first thing which tripped me up, and I know it's got a few other people as well, is when you scroll down a page, you can't see anywhere where you can actually start editing this page. It's not until you scroll up a wee bit that this extra bar drops down, and then you can hit the edit button. So once you've done that, all the content within this page can be edited. You can add some more text. You can drop documents in, and you can resize images that are in there, all that sort of stuff. And all the controls for that are up here. Now, one that I wanted to call out, because it's something we do quite often and it's a little bit unique, is the inserting table. So when you create a new table and you're editing it, you get a second row to the bar, all these controls. And the icons are actually pretty good. They make it pretty simple to understand. So delete column, and you can highlight a column using this one. But these tables are great to have in there. And these buttons make it super simple to edit those. So I found that really useful. You can drop in PowerPoint documents that people can read or download. We can drop in a task. So this is one we haven't used a lot, but if you go task list, you can tag someone, put a task next to their name, and then you can actually track those within Confluence, and they can tick them off once they've completed them. So if I save that, show an example of a PowerPoint doc. So when you click on this, you'll get a preview of the page. The one thing you can't do in here is edit the PowerPoint document. So it's always better to do anything you want people to collaborate on natively within Confluence. Don't add a heap of PowerPoint docs, because the only way you can edit it is to download it by clicking on this button here, and then they'd have to re-upload it. But if it's a finished piece or something you don't need people to collaborate on, dropping them in is nice and easy to view. There's probably something else I did one before, but I didn't really talk to it. So if you want to tag someone in your page so that they get notified of any changes or are made aware that the page has been created, you can just hit the @ symbol and then start typing the name. So Swaroop. As soon as you start typing, you'll get the names pop up. So that's super simple as well. So that's editing a page. If I want to create a new page, I'll try and get two birds with one stone. So if I've clicked on this page and I hit create up in the top bar here, that's going to create a new blank page. So give it a title, just add some content, and then you can just hit save. Once you save, that page will then be live within the tree, and you'll see, because I had clicked on the page above, when I hit create, it'll child under that page. So that always happens. Whatever page you've clicked on, the new page will be created underneath it. If I want it to sit next to this, I would have to click on the page above. And I'll hit create. So I'll do this one. Draft test. So Mel and I have run into this issue before, where you're creating a page, it's taking a few days to get all the information from people, and you're not ready to publish this page for everyone to see. So let's say you've created this, you've had it open on your desktop all day, and your computer runs out of battery or your internet goes down, and you lose this page. So I'm just going to do that by closing it. Now, it's pretty uncomfortable closing a page that you haven't saved physically, but they are saved by Confluence, and you just got to know where to find them. So anytime something like that happens, where you've created a page, but you haven't physically saved it, they'll end up in your drafts section. So here's the draft test. So I can just click on that, and I can continue to edit that page until I'm ready to save it, at which point it'll be published to the tree. So I'll close that again. And it'll go back into my drafts with those additional changes. So yeah, never fear when you lose. It seems like you might have lost a page. Quite often, any or even edits to a page will actually end up in your drafts folder, and you can reopen it and continue editing it because it's auto-saving constantly. Just check that everyone's on mute. So if I go back to the Honda Digital space, I'll show you how to create a page from a template. So here. So next to create, you have these three dots. So under here, there's a number of templates that you can choose from. The one we most commonly use is this meeting notes, but you can have a play and look at what the other templates look like. And you can even create custom templates. So we've got a brand comms brief in here, a CRM campaign review template, but I'll show you a meeting notes one. So what this does is automatically drops in the date, meeting notes. You can change the date. You can add the attendees to the meeting. You can add the goals from the meeting. You can add any sort of discussion or agenda. And it's got the action points, which we spoke about before. So if there's follow-up tasks, so Dushan needs to do, we can add that. And he'll actually get a notification about that. So that's a really quick example of a meeting from a template. So I'll close that. Moving a page. So this is another one that catches people out quite often. And a really important one for keeping your page tree nice and tidy. So if I was actually accidentally clicked on after sales when I created a page and it's ended up under their section, and I want to move it down to CX Digital, really easy to do. You just go down to the bottom left here, the space tool, and you can go reorder pages. What this does is it has a duplicate of the existing page tree. And again, it's just drag and drop. So you can change the order of pages. You can child them under another page and bring them back out. So super simple way to tidy up your pages. And you don't need to save. You can just click back into the page you were working on or moved, and it's carried across that new order. So that's a nice, easy one. Publishing and notifying. So let me find a page that's got a few people in it. So I've got Claire tagged in this. I'm tagged in this one. David's in the comments. So if I make an edit to this page, so if I'm just making fixing up a spelling mistake or making a really minor edit, and I don't actually want everyone that's tagged in this page to see that, or it's not necessary for them to see that, you untick this box here. So by default, this will be ticked to notify all watchers. So everyone who's tagged in that page, if you hit save, will get a notification email saying that you've made an edit to the page and show them what you've changed. Really helpful if you've made some significant change, added a presentation, completed your task, whatever it might be. But if it's just a really minor one and you don't want to bombard, let's say you had 50 people tagged on a particular page, you can untick that and save it, and they won't get notified. So where are we up? Cool. So discussing work with your team. So we'll run through comments, inline comments, tasks, Jira links, which may or may not be relevant for everyone, updating pages, which we've already touched on a bit, notifying watchers, which again we've looked at, and then watching pages. So jump back into Confluence. So I'll go to my test one. So comments, pretty straightforward. You got this field below the page itself, where you can tag people, ask questions, resolve things. What I would mention, and I've seen it with a couple of briefs, is once you come to a resolution about an issue that's being discussed in the comments, add that information back into the page itself, because it doesn't help when you get 50 comments. The page itself has some outdated content, and you've got 50 comments, and the up-to-date answer or resolution is buried within those comments, because anyone joining the page late has to then trawl through all those comments. So I'd advise you to keep updating the page when you've got comments that are relevant to everyone, if you're just having conversations within the comment section. So inline comments is another one. And Claire, this is probably good for you if you're doing any legal changes or anyone sending any legal stuff across. You can highlight some text. If you just hover over it, this works. Sorry, it's not, you don't need to be editing the page. If I just highlight the text, hover over it, and get these two little icons that pop up. You hit that one. Please change to XYZ. So those are a nice way if you're sending over copy or any sort of comment. It's quite a good way to do it if you're referencing something particular in the page itself, rather than making a comment. They have to then track back through the page, find what you're talking about. This is a nice, tidy way to do it, and you can add replies and resolve it and all the rest of it. So that's a good little trick, that one. We touched on tasks. I'll show you again. So in this little plus icon, taskbar, you can say, Sam is the So the other thing that's probably worth noting, it's in the same little plus drop down, is you can add a date if you want the task to be done by Thursday. And that little date icon gets passed through to your calendar and into, if I save that, that'll then sit in my tasks as well. It's nice and easy to follow with the date there when it's due. Jira links. Back to my test page. So I can paste in links to Jira tickets if that's relevant. You can do that from a Hover as well. I need to close this one. Create Jira tickets, but if I open Jira just really quickly. Got a ticket in here. I can copy the copy the link, and just add it to the page. So that should hopefully hyperlink. Yeah, that's now a hyperlink to that Jira ticket. So again, just keeping it all in the same place, making it really easy for any other contributors to find what you're talking about. Updating a page, I think we've done a fair bit of that, so probably don't need to cover that again. We've talked about notifying watchers when we're editing a page, so just that little checkbox down here. And watching pages. So if I go to this, I'm clicked on watching everything within the Honda Digital space. But again, if anyone's having issues with too many emails, they don't need to be as close to it. You can go into here and you can manage what you're watching and turn it off for particular pages that are getting a lot of comments if it's not relevant for you. So I think that's pretty much it. It's a top-line view of Confluence, so happy to answer any questions. We've got a little bit of time left, so fire away.